Hi everyone, welcome to SAS Global Forum. Let's begin the presentation. Topic of the presentation is alternate solution to person window statement in SAS Enterprise Guide, PowerShell. A brief introduction about myself is, my name is Sumit Pratap Pradhan. I'm working in life sciences domain and using SAS language for more than 9 years. I'm advanced SAS certified. Currently, I'm contributing as principal statistical programmer at Syneos Health. I'm based in India office. I have worked on client-specific standard as well as CDISC standard like SDTM and ADAM. Here is the background of the topic, why I have chosen to share this topic with you. In my organization, few programmers have started an application development in PC SAS. They used the version 9.3. The application development needed user input through interactive window. For that purpose, they have used the percent window statement. While the development was in progress, organization switched to a newer version of SAS, that is 9.4, and it has started using the SAS Enterprise Guide. And TC SAS was no longer available to us. The drawback is that percent window statement is not supported in SAS Enterprise Guide. So an alternate solution was needed. Here is a brief introduction about percent window statement. Percent window statement can be used to define the customized window to take the user input. SAS Enterprise Guide works on client server model, so it does not support the percent window statement. And on few occasions, SAS program needs to perform tasks dynamically based on the inputs provided by user. So to encounter this scenario, I came up with two approaches. First approach is to use the prompt manager. Prompt manager is an inbuilt facility provided in SAS Enterprise Guide. It can be used to take the user input through interactive window. It enables programmer to request input from the user when the code is run. But prompt manager doesn't suit to my requirement because prompt manager is available only if you create a project, and project creation is not needed in my case. So I moved to another approach, which was to use the PowerShell. PowerShell is a task automation and configuration management framework consisting of command line shell and associated scripting language. PowerShell itself has a number of advantages. I have listed few which were applicable in my case. First and the most important is PowerShell is an open source software. I work in the Citrix environment where it is pre-installed. Since the software is pre-installed, IT team requires no overhead in terms of installation. So in any organization which is looking for the utility development or application development, task automation, and the PowerShell can be utilized, it is an ideal scenario. PowerShell has access to all the form building capabilities found in .NET Framework. That's why customized forms can be developed. Even the most complex forms can be developed to take the user input. Once the input is taken, it can be used by the SAS program to complete the task. Here, I am giving an example that will make clear how the PowerShell can be utilized to take the user input. And while giving the example, I am also showing how the PowerShell can interact with SAS, because the combination of PowerShell and SAS itself is very strong, and it is very helpful to solve few specific problems. So our task is to create XPT or define XML based on the information provided by user. For XPT creation and define XML generation, standard macro is available. The macro is written in SAS. Since the program is already written, it will take few inputs from the user and it will perform one of the two tasks. So macro needs in general three parameters. First parameter is task to be performed. In this case, it is XPT creation or define XML generation. Second parameter is module for which task needs to be performed, SDTM or Atom. The last parameter is the study name for which task needs to be performed. PowerShell script has been written to take the user input and save the input taken to a text file. Below is the screen which shows an example. This form has been designed using the PowerShell. It has three fields: select task, select module, select study. All the fields are drop down. Select task field has two values: XPT creation and define generation. User needs to select one option. Select module has again two values: SDTM and Atom. User needs to select one value. Select study field will display the list of all studies available to project area, and user can select one study on which the particular user is working. Once the user presses on submit button, it will save the result to a text file. This screenshot shows how the user has selected the option. For example, user has selected define generation as task, SDTM as module, and study 10078644. Once the user presses on submit button, it will save the result to a text file. Now, SAS program can read the text file and produce the appropriate result. Since in this case, user has selected define generation for SDTM module, SAS program will generate the define generation for SDTM module. In this approach, two programs have been executed by the programmer. First one is the PowerShell script, which will define the window and save the result to a text file. Second one is the SAS program, which will use the text file and produce the appropriate result. But both steps can be combined together and automation is possible with the help of PowerShell. So for that, user needs to write a single PowerShell script. That PowerShell script will take the user input and save the result to text file. And the same script will run the SAS program in batch mode. And this is a better approach because programmer needs to run only PowerShell script once and it will produce the intended result. That is all. Thank you. Here's my contact information.